Learning about that what are the different types of testing available, and as far as how the software development lifecycle was, how the software testing lifecycle works. Okay, so let's not waste the time and find out that what are the things that are required. Okay, so guys, whenever we talk about software lifecycle or software development lifecycle, we do have a three type of development lifecycle in software. Okay, now what are those three type of life cycle? So the first, which is known as front end. What it is known as? It is known as front end. Wherein we work on what? We work on various aspect of the designing part. It means if I am as a user, say for an example, a user who is visiting my website or my application. Okay. Now how he is interacting with my website in terms of design, in terms of look and feel. So this part is called as front end or the UI UX part as well. What it is known as UI and EX part. This is known as UI UX design. You must have heard about UI and UX design. So this is also UI and EX design. Okay, it means user interface and user experience. How the user is experiences once who is visiting our landing page to our website or our application. Okay, so these developer are called front end developer and they work on HTML. Okay, they work on HTML, they work on CSS and bootstrapped. Okay, these are the languages that is used for designing purpose. Next thing or next technology which comes in software development life cycle, or you can say the part, is known as middleware. What it is known as? It is known as middleware. You must have not heard about this particular things, but it exists. So there is no different role for the middleware developer. However, middleware is something which, say for example, you must have a PC in your house, right? So whenever you put something through your keyboard, the input devices, keyboard or mouse, so it gets processed by a CPU, right? Which is central processing unit, and then it forms a binary 0101. Then it tells the computer that what the output needs to be presented, right? So the middleware developer is same, that how the process will work. Okay, it includes the database as well. How database will work, that is concluded in where as a middleware developer or middleware development, wherein we test that whatever we are putting, say for example I am saying that take data from here, from where it should take data. You must have heard about the APIs and everything development. So this is comes under middleware. Okay, that how the things should be processed, where should we collect data from, how it should be processed. This is known as middleware developer. Then the next, which is very well known, which is known as what? Which is known as a backend developer. So sorry for the drawing, but they are called a backend developer. Who are backend developer basically? The backend developer is a kind of a developer who program the functionality of the website from the backend, which cannot be seen by the user or like a normal person visiting your website or application. So these backend developers works on Java, works on C Sharp, work on C++, right? These are the various programming languages that is used to build the backend of the website. So they are known as backend developer, okay, wherein coding are involved. So a backend developer who knows front end, or a front end developer who knows about backend, is known as full stack developer. What they know, and this is the this kind of a development profile which is very demand. Okay, which is very demand in market basically. So this is known as full stack developer who do take care of the front end, who do have a knowledge of front end and the back end part both. Okay, so today we'll be experiencing, we'll be learning that what is the cycle, how they work. Okay, so let's jump onto the module, so we'll be able to see that what, how we process, how we jump. Okay, how the software developer work and how the tester work. So basically, software developer first they gather the requirement. Now the requirement can be from client side, it can be from the company side as well. Then a designer, an HTML designer, a web designer, design that particular website. Basically, what is designing? A designing is the skeleton of your website, that how your website should look. Okay. Then the part which is coding. Coding means programming, using various languages to build the functionality of the website and the applications. Then comes the implementation. It means whatever we have done in the coding, will implement it. Okay. And then come testing. Now you might have a question that why do a developer is going to test software? Yes, there are two types of testing, or we can say two level of testing, which is known as uh, alpha testing and a beta testing. Alpha testing, which is done with development, okay, along with the development. And say for an example, I am a developer, I have designed a login module. Now I want to test whether whatever code I have implemented, it is working or not. So that test is known as alpha testing. It means each module will be tested by a developer after development. Okay, so this goes with the development. This is known as the alpha testing. Alpha testing will be done by the developer. Then if the software is good to go, and then it will be deliver to the client. It will be carry forward to the client that okay, that software is ready to use. And the maintenance, which is of course in every machine and human, we all need maintenance. So if there are small issues, small changes, content changes, so that will be done throughout the life cycle of the software. Okay, so this is how a developer work. First he get the requirement, then then the designer make a designing, then a developer, backend developer do the coding, then it is got implemented, and then it tested as alpha testing, and then the software is delivered. Now, as a tester, what we do? First, we do test planning and control. It means that whatever the flows I want to check, if I am a client, I am telling you, okay, I need to check the login module. So I need to prepare the test, that how we are going to test the login module. Okay, test analysis and design. Now, once we know the requirement from the client, we'll be designing the test cases, means various method that will be testing the software. Okay, now it can be a single module or can be the entire software as well. Then test implementation. It means whatever test we have thought, whatever plan we did, we'll write it somewhere. We will plan it accordingly. And then comes the execution part. Same as a software development lifecycle, software testing lifecycle also have a two types of testing, which is known as static testing and dynamic testing. In static testing, basically we plan and we write test cases. We don't implement it. Okay, we don't execute those things. With the dynamic testing, what we do, using our various tools and methods and techniques, we execute those test cases. If you are having hard time to understand this in this way, say for an example, I want to check the login module is working or not. Okay, so first I will prepare the test cases, that how I'm going to check the login module, what should be the output and what the actual output. Okay, expected and actual output. And then the next phase in the dynamic testing will be executing those test cases. We will be practically executing those test cases to see is there any defect or not. This is known as the dynamic testing phase. Now once we test this, we will be able to find there are defects in the software, there are issues in the software. Then once we report those defects, then our test closure will be done. Once a test is closed by a tester, it means he has done the best testing possible at that particular time. Okay, so every test case is twisted, we will do it to make a software to come out with a bug. Okay, so the possibility will be less software to be failed. Now quality software, the client has given us a correct requirement, our designers also followed the rule and made a good design as per the requirement. So the developer has also implemented his code and programming algorithm as per the designer, and then the product works as we expect. It is a quality software. But what if anything goes wrong? Requirement which is provided by the client is correct, designer made a correct design, but developer made a mistake while doing coding. Okay, so what's gonna happen? The product will have a bug, a lot of bugs in it, will be defected. The requirement is correct. Designer made a mistake designing a skeleton of the website or the applications or the software. Okay, how can they? So for an example, you build a house, you hired a architecture. architecture, what he did, instead in where it should be the bathroom, he put the bedroom. Where it should be the bedroom, he put the bathroom. So this is a misplaced, the designing, right? Wrong design. So as per the design, the developer will also do the coding. So initially the developer will also be wrong, and the entire product flows will be defected. Now, requirement stage, if requirement which is given by the client is wrong. So say for an example, let's take this example in this way, that I am as a client, I am saying there are four pillars, I need to build a house. Okay, so as I heard architecture, and I am saying that there is normally four pillar, but I want my house to be built up based on one pillar only. Okay, so the requirement that I am giving to the designer is wrong, to the architecture is wrong. Then the civil engineer is going to build that particular building accordingly, so it will also be wrong. And then the entire product will be wrong, it will be again defective. Why? Because earthquake or a natural calamity will destroy my house, because it is not as per the standard operating. So this is how the software testing and software development life cycle was. Now what is error, fault and failure? We are a human. So humans makes mistakes, right? A person makes an error and that creates a fault in the software. So say for an example, as a designer, as a developer, if I am making a wrong design or implementing a wrong code into the software, then the software is going to be a faulty software, right? That will cause operation failures. The software is not going to work, as it should, as expected. So what is error? An error result produced by human action. What is defect? A flaw in the system that can cause the system to fail to perform its required function. For example, an incorrect statement or data definition. So say for an example, let's take this example. You are designing, there will be login module when user will be able to log in using his email ID, his or her email ID and mobile number both. But a developer, what he did, he should conclude the if else statement in the coding. But instead of that, what he put, only phone number. So the multiple time when the user is coming and putting his email ID for registration, and it's getting an error that you should only use mobile number. Now this is not as per the requirement, right? So that's the reason that the software will be called as faulty software. We called a defect, a bug. Deviation of the system from its expected delivery, service or result. It means that whatever, so for an example, the software has a capacity of handling 1000 visitors. Instead of that, what happened that I have not optimized it, and what I did is what I found that 3000 visitors visited my application website and it got crashed. Okay, so the delivery is not as per the expectation, because it is causing operation failure. The software is not working, right? Now understand the cost of defect. Again, we'll be moving ahead to the this section. We'll try to understand. Suppose, say for an example, you have a pain in your stomach. Okay, so the first day when you feel that I am having a pain, you avoid it. Okay, and prefer to wait for some times. After 2 days, you saw the pain is not gone. Okay, so now it is extreme. So what you took? You took a painkiller. You took painkiller. Okay, but even after that, after 1 week, you feel that no, this is something which is causing me trouble again and again. It's a very critical issue. Now you plan to consult with a doctor. You're planning to consult with a doctor. When you consulted with a doctor, doctor says that the liver transplant is the only solution. It means your liver needs to be transplanted. Okay, now tell me, if you go to the doctor in the first stage and only, then the cost that is causing, now here cost can be in cost of life as well, in cost of something else as well, not only in terms of monetary. So the cost, that if you consulted a doctor in the first stage and the doctor is able to diagnose the issue, you will have a solution, right? In the first stage only, will give you some medicines, some treatments, right? So this liver transplantation will not be required. But what you did, you are not tested. So similar happened with the tester also, the software also, the application also, that if it is if the software is being tested along with the development, then we don't need to engage any other designer or developer to again when we have some issues. Okay, okay, let's make this very simple. that, say for an example, a software has a login issue. So if the software, when the software is getting developed or the model login module is getting developed, if the developer identified issue, if he checked that, if he does an alpha testing, then the cost will be less, right? Because once the entire software is developed and then somebody is going to check it, then again if there is any wrong with the designing, coding, implementation, then again it will be started with the first stage, right? So again we need to engage developer, designer, right? So this is the reason which will cost more money to the company, to the client, right? So in order to reduce that particular cost, if we do the testing along with the development, then the cost is going to be much lesser than, right? So this is what it says. It says if an error is made at requirement stage, then the defect is detected in the same stage itself, then it is relatively cheap to find and fix. However, if detected during the design stage, then the both requirement design and requirements and the design should be corrected and reissued, which is more expensive, because again I have to go to the project manager or the client to give me a new requirement. Again I have to engage a new designer. If the designer gives a new design, then again the entire module will be developed by the developer from the fresh one. So again it is going to be more expensive. So in short, early detection will cost you low, but late detection will cost you high. Perfect. Okay, so in the next module we will be learning that what are the different